Aloha, my name is Jeremy Starkey, and this is my presentation on the ground figure cube assignment. This assignment to me was as complicated as it was simple. I must admit, I was completely perplexed by how I could not wrap my head around this simple idea. I mean, it's just black and white, right? The more I researched this theory of ground figures, the more I began to see things where I had not seen them before. And even though I felt like I had a good understanding of ground figures, I still had no idea how I was going to design one, let alone six of them, and tie them all together. Not to mention using only straight lines on some, curved lines on others, and both straight and curved lines on yet a couple more. Needless to say, it was a bit overwhelming. The only thing I was sure about was I wanted my cube to be about surfing. It is something that I'm passionate about, so I just started there. I began to doodle various designs, trying to stick with my theme of surfing. Some doodles didn't look like anything, others seemed to just look like one image. I struggled to put two images into one. I started to just think about what a day of surfing is like. I let these thoughts guide my drawings. I did not think about black or white. I just tried to draw things that reminded me of a day when I get to go surfing and why I feel like it's so great. As I began to gather various images, one started to speak to me more than the rest. It was the Hearts and Waves image. I really liked how it sort of summed up surfing for me. I love waves. There's always been something about the motion of the ocean that is just magical to me. I'm not sure if it's the best ground figure that I drew. Technically, I think the best ground figure that I drew for this assignment would be the turtles and the fish. I can really see both of those images right off the bat as they are strong in composition. And when their values are reversed, the composition is just as strong. But I had an aha moment with the Hearts and Waves design. It came when I was choosing which part of the drawing was going to be black and which part was going to be white. When I made the waves black, I realized it's like water flowing through the whole cube, like the ocean flows around the earth. When I made the hearts black, they really stood out, and I saw them more than the waves. Changing from white to black and black to white, I was able to see each part of the image clearer. I could feel my perspective switching back and forth as I looked at each image. That's why this design became my favorite. I could really see how reversing the values of this image could influence my perspective. After that, I knew how I wanted to fill in the rest of my designs on the cube to make it all flow together and sum up a day of surfing. In the end, I really liked this project. The more I stared at the cube, the more I could see the ways each design intertwined. It made me feel like a little kid again, laying in the grass, looking up at the clouds, and seeing all kinds of different images come to life. So, without further ado, here it is, my ground figure cube. The meaning behind each image and how they tell the story about a day of surfing and what makes it so great. A day of surfing usually starts off by getting up at sunrise and putting on some slippers. Do you see the sunrise or do you see the slippers? I can see my toes going into the next design. That must be me walking over to my car, where I strap two or three surfboards down, because having the right board for the right conditions is more important than diamonds to surfers. Do you see diamonds or do you see surfboards? As I get closer to the beach, I keep getting glimpses of the ocean, and the tension keeps building. When I finally get to the beach, I see the waves I love so much, Do you see waves or do you see the hearts? I get changed, pick out a board, and paddle out. I almost always see sea turtles and fish when I paddle out, making the experience even more spectacular. Do you see sea turtles or fish? If you're lucky, you see both. But it's not fun and games all the time. Every surfer knows you gotta pay to play. When you wipe out, you see stars or triangles. Is that a polygon? What do you see? After getting out of the water and miraculously escaping any serious injuries, you're always happier than when you got in. Or do you just see squares and triangles? Maybe you're upside down about surfing and you see a frown. Every time I go surfing, whether the waves are big or small, it always blows my mind. I hope you enjoyed my cube, even if you don't surf. You are blessed to live near the ocean here in Hawaii.